Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of Fire and Flair. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Adriana Egan, and today we are going to discuss the silent struggle of adult loneliness and finding real connection. So, I felt like this was a good episode to piggyback off of the one that I had right before, where I talked about like how do you find connection without dating apps, because nowadays it feels like maybe sometimes that's all we have. So, I am your sign and your advocate for challenging yourself to not just rely on apps and go back to some traditional, more organic ways to meet people. So that episode was more so kind of focused on like dating apps, where this episode is tailored to just like loneliness in general, right? Whether it comes from not having a romantic partner, transitioning, friendships in different stages of life, overall, just kind of feeling lonely and disconnected as an adult, because I think it's something that like isn't really talked about, to be honest. Like I think we maybe just assume that everyone has people around them or a network, or that they're okay, or that they're not feeling loneliness, but I don't believe that to be the case. And I feel like I am the right person to have this discussion because I'm 31, single, I live alone, I'm navigating life by myself. We're all human. Like, people, even when you're not single, you can feel lonely. It doesn't matter. So, all this to say, this episode is regarding those times where we feel lonely and how to like pull ourselves out of that rut. So, this started because I came across a post about adult loneliness and it hit me harder than I expected. It's something so many of us experience, yet it's rarely talked about. We live in a world that's more connected than ever, yet we feel more disconnected than any generation before us. Social media can validate our feelings, but it can also remind us of how much we're missing in real life. So, in this episode, I'm diving into my personal experience with loneliness over the past couple months, reevaluating friendships, stepping back from dating, and realizing how much I was craving deeper connection. I talk about how hobbies become a game changer, getting myself out of my work from home rut, and helping me build momentum to try new things and meet new people. Expanding your social circle is so important, but it also takes efforts. We're social creatures and we're not meant to live in isolation. Other cultures still thrive in community based living, while many of us are stuck in isolated routines. Um, so, yeah, that just kind of encompasses some points that I wanted to hit on. And I'm actually like not like excited to talk about it. Like, I'm always excited to do my podcast, but I don't know. I really, really think this episode is going to hit home for a lot of people. And I hope it makes you feel less lonely, a little bit more connected. So, yeah, I guess going back, like I'll just kind of start with like where I've been at and open up that forum to basically say last year was really strange in the sense of there was so much transition happening in a lot of my friendships. Like, I was coming off a breakup, so like I just wanted to take a break from dating and focus on myself. So like I was navigating that like a little bit, but the main focus actually was friendships, surprisingly. And like friendships ended that I wasn't even expecting. Like people I had been friends with for such a long time that I thought were going to be in my life forever. So that was a bit jarring, but at the end of the day, it was because like pretty much I outgrew them, right? And sometimes that happens whether we want it to or not. It's still sad. Like, I don't ever want friendships to end, but I do kind of realize maybe like where those friendships weren't good for me because they weren't reciprocal, right? So, like, we can have so many friends, but who are the friends that like genuinely get us on a core level? They make us feel safe and seen, and we can be ourselves around them, and they're also pouring into the friendship. It's truly reciprocal because that actually is a huge difference. Like, and that's in the last couple years I've been taking stock of like, okay, again, where are the friendships that I feel are reciprocal? They're pouring into me. I feel valued, and ones where that maybe isn't the case. So last year, there were a couple where it was like, I took a step back, or there were conversations about where maybe that things weren't aligning. We weren't aligning as friends. We've outgrown each other. We were in different places. Unfortunately, that just happened. So, definitely some tough learning lessons there. And I kind of did go through this period where it's hard because, like, a lot of my close friendships, that I still do have and value. Like people are just in a different stage of life. Like there's so many people around me that are getting married and having children, and like I'm so happy for them. Like I do still see those friends, but it's different, right? Like I live in the city, so like I have certain people where it's like I can call them up on a random night to like, hey, let's go to this bar, let's go for a walk, let's do something. Like there's a little bit more of that free flowing spontaneity, just in like the stage of life. So that was a hard part for me, was just friendship transitions, and then like trying to find other ways in which I needed to expand my network too, because I didn't realize how tethered I was to like friendships that were kind of stale. Like, if I can put it in a certain way, like they just had kind of reached their expiration date. And it was like, oh, wow, like I actually do still need to make an effort to make new friendships as an adult, right? Like, that's kind of what I was saying in the last episode too. Like, I don't think we should ever not be open to meeting new friends, or at least that's the way my life kind of like has pushed me. And so it's hard, right? Like, as we all know, it's not easy to make friends as an adult as it is in high school, college, even kind of earlier, like you're 20 to 25. Like, once you start hitting the later 20s, it's like people are settling down in their long term relationships, they're getting married, they're having kids, things are different. We're working all the time, we're juggling multiple jobs. Like, you just, life changes in that way. So, it is much harder to meet people as an adult. So, it takes a little bit more effort, but it's possible. So, and I think that's healthy. Like, we need friendships as an adult. It's okay to like meet new people as you get older. Like, I'm an advocate for it. It's a breath of fresh air. I think that it's great to obviously maintain long-term friendships you've had, as I do. Like, I want to keep my friendships forever, but some of them don't. And then it's just nice to have a balance, I think. So some of the things I talked about in the last episode, you could utilize for dating, but platonic friendships too. So that's hobbies. Like, I've met friends through new hobbies that I've tried, like that time left app that I had talked about before. I'd say actually that's kind of more so, it's interesting I brought that up because it's honestly more to meet like friends as opposed to dating. So I think maybe I was just like going on a tangent. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, time left is still a way to expand your network for dating or platonically. I would say it's more for meeting friends, but regardless, like if you go to this little intimate dinner gathering and you have someone who catches your fancy, or you start being friends with them and they introduce you to someone, like again, it's still a great network builder regardless. So what was interesting though is, with time left, there was a great conversation that I had at that dinner. And like, actually, so the concept was first introduced to me through this dinner, but then I found it on social media. So I think it circulated on social media first, but it's this concept of a third space, right? So it's somewhere that's not work or home, that's kind of in between, where it's like you can socialize, you can do a hobby, you can build relationships. Like, we're kind of losing this third space outlet. It's just work, home, work, home. So I said that it would be nice if there was just like one set space that people just could naturally go to in between home and work. But I think that we have to put in an effort to carve it out ourselves. So that's joining hobbies, going to networking events, doing stuff like time left, like anything in which we have to seek out that connection ourselves. So it's funny because as we were talking about it at the time left dinner, I had like this genius idea that, um I sorry, I'm like losing my train of thought here. I got distracted. Anyways, I thought about this idea and like, okay, so shopping malls are pretty much just, nobody really goes to shopping malls anymore. A lot of them are closing down. There's so many vacant stores. There's just like this huge space that's almost going to waste. But I said, what if we created something almost as big as like a shopping mall, but instead of stores, like each store space was like some sort of like hobby people could jump around to, and we could have like this big third space. Like, I don't know, like even back in the day, it's like malls kind of were a third space in their own right. Like kids would go hang out at malls, people would take their children there. Like it was like this little hub that you could go to for entertainment or I don't know, maybe social interaction, people watching. So think of a mall, but like instead of having shopping stores, there's like you can paint, you can do a oh my god, why am I blanking? A pottery class. There's a music class if there's an instrument you want to try. Um, you could even carve out a bigger space for certain sports. Like any little hobby that you would want to try is all encompassed into a space as big as a mall, and you can go there. That's the third space after work. Like literally, if anyone is going to make this a reality, please like join me in, let me trademark it with you because now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh my God, I need to get on this as a business venture. Like it could do really well. So, all that to say, yeah, the concept of a third space is floating around, and it's like, where can you go to have these outlets to meet people and build relationships? And so, I think back in the day, like I said, it was kind of a little bit easier. Like people were more community based, and the U.S. is getting away from that even more. Like we see in other countries now where they are still community based. The US is not. And we're getting even less community based. Like so many people are living in isolation now. It's actually kind of scary. But even think back in the day, like 50s, 60s, 70s, it's like you knew who your neighbors were. You were going outside and playing. You were going to work, leaving your house and going to work every single day. Even like if you think of like community pools, like parents would drop their kids off at the pool and not see them for hours. I'm trying to think of other like organizations or spots like that where people would go to like feel a sense of community no matter what age you were. I think church was always one of those too. And I think that does still exist a little bit in church, but it's just not as prevalent. Funny enough, speaking of church, this is a good segue because I always like will say like I'm a very spiritual person. I always have been. So for me, for the longest time, it was always like I would say universe. Like that's kind of was my like what I would consider like my main source of truth was like the universe. I was spiritual. I did believe in God, but I didn't feel as like close to it just because I didn't grow up being religious. And like that's actually kind of changed as I've gotten older and I'm really surprised by it, but I'm also just try to stay open-minded and I go with the flow now, right? So whatever's flowing into my life, I'm going to keep going on that path. So I actually did start going to church recently and I will share the story of how that happened. But again, a lot of it boils down to synchronicity. And that's like, I love sharing these stories on here because I can't make this stuff up. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to be some sort of like messenger to share certain things that happen in my life to like inspire other people. Like, this stuff is happening to me for a reason. So, um, if anyone's familiar with Joel Osteen, he does his services like on TV. He has like this huge church in Houston and he televises his services. They're on TV for the public to watch or depending what cable network you have. And so some people are a little like I don't know, like Joel's hit or miss with certain people. Like I like it because of the positive message behind it. Like when I'm looking for something to inspire me to start my day or week off right, like Joel's just there's positive messaging behind it whether you believe in like the biblical church style behind it, whatever. So anyways, I've watched Joel Osteen a couple times. I like the positive messages. I can always like take something away from it. And so there was one Sunday a couple months ago where like on Sundays I like to have a slow morning. So I like to just lay in bed, have my coffee, relax. Like I don't have to rush to be somewhere. I can just decompress. So there was a Sunday and I was, like just felt like I needed that like dose of positivity or some sort of message. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put Joel on. So I turned Joel on, watch it. I liked the message. I felt a little better. And a thought crossed my mind. And I said, what if I considered going to church? Again, I'm finding every which way to try to put myself out there to meet people, whether it's dating or friends or expanding my network. Um, I had a friend also ask me that like shortly before if I would ever consider going to church. Wasn't off the table for me. So anyways, the thought crossed my mind about going to church. The very next day, I see a friend and she tells me that she went for a walk in our neighborhood and stumbled across this church, ended up going to a service and loved it. And she was like, it was such good vibes. There's a lot of young people there. Like, this isn't like a traditional, stuffy, like old school church. Nothing wrong with that if you like that, but it doesn't necessarily call to the younger generation. So churches have become more modernized and connecting with people in a way where it's just easier, like it's just up to date. I don't know how else to explain it. So it's connecting with like other generations. So she tells me about this church and she's like, would you want to ever go with me? And I was like, honestly, yes. Like, I'm willing to try it. I'm super interested. The services are only 1 hour, they go by fast. So, yeah, we ended up going that Sunday and I really, really, really liked it. Like, they do songs and the songs are beautiful. Like, I feel like it truly touches my soul in a way that I can't explain. Never thought that I'd be sitting here talking about, yeah, so I went to church and I feel really touched. Like, it feels weird, right? But I don't care. When you know, you know. And all I say is stay open minded. Like, this isn't me pushing religion. It's interesting because I actually started going to the church group that they have once a week, and they provide free dinner, which is like a really nice touch, also an incentive. So, again, I'm like staying open minded, trying everything. There's a phrase, say yes to everything, and I kind of believe that. So, I started going to this church group once a week, and it's interesting because what I like about it is that they really do foster like people exploring what faith means to them. Like, this isn't like I go here and I'm just being like fed religious things that it's like you must believe in this. Like, it's not like that at all. It's like an open discussion about how you're navigating your own concept of faith because you can make it whatever you want. Like, it doesn't have to be this black and white, this is the only way to believe in something because think, I just don't believe in that. Like, how is that going to motivate people, right? Like, you have to navigate and like carve out your own path for what faith and spirituality means to you. But I do believe it's so important to believe in something bigger than yourself. I really, really do. So, anyways, what I like about this group is like there's people there who are still questioning, why am I here? I don't know what my relationship with God and church and religion is. Like, and for some people, it's almost like they've been a little traumatized by their religious upbringing, especially if it was really strict and they weren't able to navigate it in a safe way. So, yeah, it's just really interesting. And, like they're fully okay with people coming and being like, yeah, I still don't know if I fully believe in God, but like I'm exploring it and I'm here and these are my thoughts. That's where it starts. Like, people should have an open, safe space to explore it. I just like that at the end of the day, this is more about community too. To me, it's more about community and connection more than it really is about necessarily God and religion itself. And it's like people share their stories and it's crazy. Like, we've all been through something. Like, you never know what someone has been through. And just hearing different stories, hearing other perspectives, and like the strength and resilience that other people are willing to share, it's like truly inspiring. And again, it makes you feel less lonely. Like, oh my God, this person also navigated like a really challenging situation with grief and like lost someone close to them like I did. Like, that right there, connection. And you're doing it in a way that's like not just going to a bar, it's not just surface level, it's not just like surfing the apps from your couch. There's just something to be said about it. So like I feel really grateful. I was going to say that I found this, but it truly found me. Like, God opened that door and was like, see you even questioning it, so now I'm just going to make it really easy for you to follow this path. So yeah, again, I'm a huge believer in synchronicity. I'll talk about it a lot on the podcast just because it's also super prevalent in my life, but truly me finding connection in this church space, it was so unexpected and it was a moment of synchronicity. Like, I could not even get over how the thought just merely crossing my mind, like I'm just entertaining it. Like I haven't even like looked up churches or Googled it once. And then it's just like, bam, the next day, a neighbor mentions it. We're going to church together. I'm like, wow. It's just, yeah, when you're tuned in, that feeling that you get is undescribable. And it just really, really helps you navigate life in such a like easier, more positive way. I can't explain it. So, anyways, if you're interested in finding connection through church, if you're spiritual, or again, you don't even need to deem yourself as religious or spiritual. It's just consider church as a way to have that third space to like find really true deep connection, because I feel like that's the other piece of this too is, again, you can be in a room with 100 people and still feel lonely. So it's not just the number of friends, it's not the quantity, it's really about the quality of friendships and people in your life. Like who's positive, who's healthy, who's reciprocal, like who makes you feel good. Because again, that makes a huge difference. Like you could still feel lonely even having friends if they're not the right friendships for you. Um, so that being said, I think that sometimes apps and like bars are just like a very shallow way to meet people, especially for me as someone who like I'm so intentional, thoughtful. Like I'm a very deep individual, meaning that I like am constantly thinking, constantly reflecting. A lot of times I get lost in my own inner world. That's also an introvert quality. So that's kind of another thing I wanted to touch on too is like I just didn't realize how much being an introvert versus an extrovert can really affect the way that you navigate life and your relationships, romantically or platonically, especially with feeling alone too. I just think that our world is like built better for extroverts. Like, not to say woe is me, but just the way that things are structured, like especially in a corporate setting with hierarchies, it's like extroverts just somehow naturally thrive more. They know how to like um foster kind of those like surface level conversations and always putting themselves out there and networking, and like that's just like a natural skill. Like I admire that a lot. There are times where I wish I was extroverted because I feel like my life might be a little bit easier. Extroverts deal with their own struggles, but I will say there are just benefits to being an extrovert. Like even in dating, it's like oftentimes I find myself adopted by extroverts. They're the ones coming up to me, initiating conversation. I'm not doing that because that is still just something that I struggle with, and it's not a strength, and I'm working on it. I don't necessarily need to change myself and think that I need to become an extrovert, but again, it's like where are the gaps in skills? Like where do we need to grow and like exercise different muscles in life? Because being passive and never initiating, I can't just say, oh, well, it's because I'm an introvert. Like, I don't want to use that excuse to like be passive in my own life. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. But like I said, it's at least been validating to know why I operate the way that I do and why my experiences maybe are a little different than other people I know. Because, like I said, being an introvert, it can be tough. Like, I really do value like one on one, deeper connections. Like, that's just naturally where I thrive and where I gravitate towards. So, um, I do find myself to be kind of more in these one on one friendships as opposed to having a very large group of friends or being the friend that connects this friend and this friend. And now we make a group. Like, I just, that's never been my style friendship wise. But as I said, I am learning where that needs to change a little bit. And I'm at a point in life where, like, I have to expand my network. Like, otherwise, what am I going to do? Sit inside alone? Like, no, we're not doing that. So, yeah, for other introverts out there, I feel you. It's quite challenging. And I am a believer that there's a spectrum on the introvert extrovert side. I think I actually fall more in the middle as an ambivert. Like, I wish that that was more of a term, like a solidified term, instead of having two extremes of introvert extrovert, because I really do feel I'm an ambivert, which is someone who's in the middle. Like, again, even as an introvert and extrovert, we all need social interaction. We all need downtime to decompress, but it's like what naturally feeds our energy. So, like, again, going back as an introvert, like I need time to decompress. Like I can socialize. I do love socializing and that sort of thing, but like my Sundays, I'm like such a stickler, maybe a little rigid, but truly like Sundays are my day that I need to just recharge at home. I need to like be set for the week, especially if it's a busy week and I'm going to be out doing stuff all the time or socializing a lot. It's like if I don't have just kind of that one day to myself, I am not going to be my best self the rest of the week. So, anyways, I really do feel that I'm an ambivert, though. I fall more to the middle, meaning I'm an extroverted introvert or a selective extrovert. So, um, I think that we need to get the term ambivert like going around because it's like annoying too. Like when people think of an introvert, they just think of this homebody that like never wants to socialize or they don't know how or they're socially awkward, which like isn't the case. I mean, I would say that would fall on like the very other end of the introvert spectrum. And some people are that way. Like some people really are like, no, I would rather sit at home and like play video games and have maybe two close friends in my life and just be by myself. Like good for you. Like if that's how you navigate the world, that's amazing. I'm not that way. Like I said, I do enjoy social events, getting out there, but it's just a little bit more challenging in the sense of like really initiating and acting as that like extrovert networker. So yeah. It's funny though, I often get perceived as an extrovert. Like if I'm meeting someone for the first time and it comes up where I'm like, oh, guess what I am? Always extrovert. Maybe because I mask well and I'm a chameleon. I don't really know. But yeah, anyways, so that could also be affecting maybe if you're feeling like you're in a season where fulfilling friendships are lacking or you're in a transition. Maybe you are also someone like me where you're single, but you have a lot of friends that are settled down. So you're trying to meet new connections. Or if you feel this in dating and you feel like it's a little bit more challenging, but you don't necessarily want to only rely on apps, like again, highly recommend the Myers-Briggs test because it's for me it was very much a game changer to understand how I navigate the world as an introvert. So uh yeah, that like I said, truly take a look and consider that. I'm trying to think what else I had on the docket for this episode. Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. Like, as a generation, we have all these ways in which we can connect with people, but it's somehow making us more disconnected, whether that's through apps and social media. It's interesting too because like a lot of times when I have met people in the wild, like they're also not on the apps. So it's like I'm already naturally attracting people that are on dating apps. I myself am not on dating apps. I don't want to be. It's not my preferred way to meet people. So I'm like, okay, it's at least good to know that there are quality people out there to meet still that also aren't on the apps because they feel the same way I do. Does it take a little bit longer to meet them? Does it require a little bit more effort? Yes, it does. So I'm not going to lie there. But again, it's like reinforcing something to me that I'm just someone who really values like true, deep, genuine connection. And I think it is possible to find on the apps, but it's going to be few and far between. So I don't know. I think it makes me sad that like so many people do feel lonely and disconnected. And like I feel it a lot even like working from home too. It like sucks because sorry, I have to like pause and get my charger. Technical. I did not want this episode disrupted because my laptop was gonna die. So it makes me sad that so many people do feel this way or I think the biggest thing for me too is like working from home because I'm not required to go into my office. Like, honestly, I should. Like, I should be going in, I should be required. And it's just hard because, like, I'm so used to the setup that I already have. So it feels challenging to like get myself out of the house sometimes and build that momentum. So I actually for those of you who do hybrid or have to go in, like it's really not the worst thing. I think that working from home can be more detrimental in its own way. And like I'm kind of experiencing that because especially last year, like I got to a point where I felt like such a hermit. I'm like, oh my God, like I can't get myself to do anything, like to get out of my neighborhood or to leave my building. I work from home day in and day out. Like, no wonder my dating life is non-existent. Like, um, it's actually like really problematic at this point. So like that was a huge wake up call for me. And so for other people, maybe you work from home a lot. Consider if you have an office, start going into it more. Or again, it's like putting in different ways, finding like different outlets and means to get yourself out there. So like I've really started making a point to do that because again, it's like nothing in your life is going to change. Same with me. Like it can't feel like such a heavy lift to like go somewhere and leave my neighborhood or like go like get out during the week because that's like the stagnation that like you fall into and you get in such a rut and it's just like it's so bad for your mental health. Like it literally is so bad. So please do not fall into the rut of like working from home, sitting on the apps, not making yourself get out, even just taking a walk. Like start with the small steps and it'll build momentum. So now for me, it's like I typically am working on my creative projects like when I'm not working at night, certain nights of the week. Tuesday, I've been going to my church group. I've started putting networking events in, or like some nights I'll do like this dance class, like anything that is literally just making you active and getting you out there. And it's like, I remember even last week, I was like, oh, I don't feel like getting ready and going to this networking event. But I went to one. Now I'm excited to go to more this week. There's also some like speed dating events you can try. I actually think I'm going to try one soon. I'll report back and let you know how I like it. But I know other people that are trying it too. There's actually this really great like meetup group in Chicago that's gaining a lot of traction. It's called Me in Real Life or Me IRL. And they have a ton of events through Eventbrite. Their social media is growing and they're like actively creating this space for people to meet organically who don't want to meet on the apps. And I think that's wonderful. Like stuff like that, I'm like, sign me up. Like I'm here for anything. So yeah, I've never tried speed dating before. People have asked me. I haven't, but listen, it's not off the table completely. So consider that as well. You just never know who you can meet. And I just think, like I said, now that we've been in this decade of apps, people are kind of like over it. Like the novelty has worn off. Maybe they were exciting and convenient at first, especially during COVID, but people are like, okay, well, let's kind of go back to like the natural, organic, traditional way of meeting people. I don't want to just do the apps, especially when you've had quite a few bad experiences like me. So let's not be lonely hermits. Let's get ourselves out there. Again, we are social creatures. I cannot say that enough. It has been proven scientifically. I took a lot of sociology classes. Like, we literally need connection to thrive. We could not, we're not just born and can do things on our own. But regardless, even as adults, like, we need connection. It's not good to be living in isolation. And like, I felt that myself. Like, I live alone, I work from home. Like, the fuck? Like that's I don't know. I'm at my wits end with it, honestly, and that's when it was a wake up call and I was like something in my life has to change. That's why I joined hobbies and I do all these sporting events. I was doing a lot of free trials with like class pass and workout events, which I wanted a separate episode on that actually because I have like really great like life hacks for utilizing those free memberships and trials, especially if you compound them back to back. You could get like a free workouts for a month. But stay tuned. That will be another episode. So yeah, I try almost anything and everything. The time left group, going to church now, like listen, pretty soon there's going to be like group it's going to be that I haven't tried something. You know what I mean? It'll be like, well, what haven't you tried? Like that's the point I want to be at. So yeah, just some food for thought, because it really does make me sad to know that we live in this era where unfortunately it's easy to feel disconnected and lonely. And like I have felt it myself, which is why I'm talking about it now. But I've like come a long way in the past 6 months of like redirecting my life and finding all these new connections. Like my life has changed for the better. I feel so much happier and more fulfilled. All these new paths are like being carved out for me. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like your life starts to gain traction because you're out there, you're doing stuff, you're meeting people, you're literally just living a life. That's how we were supposed to live our lives, not cooped up in isolation the way that we have been. And then it's like, here's the thing too. It's like when you get into a rut, it's really hard to get out of. Like you have to actively make such an effort. And sometimes it's all about pushing yourself. You don't have anyone there that's going to push you to do this stuff. Like you have to make yourself do it. Um, but like I said, it really starts with doing it small and building the momentum. Even if you start with one thing per week, like or per day, I'm going to go for a walk for 20 minutes. I'm just going to go for a walk in my neighborhood this week. Next week, I'll try a networking event. And it's always like when you get it done the first time, when you get that first time over with, then it's so much easier to keep wanting to go and like building off of that. Like I want to get to a point, especially now that we're heading into summer, where I'm going to be outside doing something every single day. That's my goal. Like I don't have time to like be sitting inside. Like I'm going to live my life. Maybe it's also cuz I'm in my 30s now, so I'm like, oh shit, like time actually goes by really fast. Like I can't waste these years doing nothing. Like I have to live my life to the fullest. So anyways, all that to say, hopefully, I've inspired you. Regardless if you're single, in a relationship, wherever you're at in life, I think it's important to carve out some sort of connection that is truly fulfilling. Um, because we need that even beyond being in relationships too. It's really important. Like each person needs to have like their own hobby, own friends, own something that gives you connection and is fulfilling outside of just your partnership. Like it's not healthy to like be codependent and like put all your eggs in one basket. So that typically ends up backfiring. But yeah, try to find some sort of third space to break you out of that stagnant isolation if you're feeling it. I've had to learn how to like enjoy my own company too. So that is kind of another layer in this. But yeah, I on a deeper level, I also believe in staying connected to something beyond the physical. So I kind of mentioned that earlier, whether it's spirituality, religion, um, like I'm a big believer in like astrology too. So leaning into the divine has helped me shift my perspective, especially during difficult times. So like they say that you should kind of have a hobby for like in different arenas. So like you have something that cultivates like religion or spirituality or believing in something beyond yourself. You should have a hobby that you can monetize. You should have a hobby that's physical or active. You should have a hobby that's purely just for enjoyment. So even starting there and being like, what do I need most right now? Do I need a hobby that's going to help me make money? Do I need something that's faith based? Do I need physical activity? Do I need to meet more people? Do I need to like focus on dating? Like find which arena you're drawn to most and start there, and it'll slowly start to build. It's crazy because I do find myself having like these or like different arenas of my life, but like having those expand and they continue to, and it's honestly amazing. Like life is your oyster. So yeah, I think that that kind of wraps up this episode. Hopefully I've given you some great ideas on like ways in which you can start, and I've inspired you. And again, like we all go through it. We all have those moments of loneliness because we're human, but we don't want to sit in the stagnation. And I'm going to harp on that a lot. And I kind of did in my last episode too. That was more so around apps and dating. So this had some similar elements, but it was the bigger picture holistically of our life and those different areas of our life that I talked about. So start with one, don't overwhelm yourself. But like I said, start with one, and you'll be surprised at how much it's going to start to filter into other areas of your life, and such a great world is going to open up this is perfect time to do that with summer coming too. So please take advantage. Life is too short. But yeah, I think this was like a nice little refreshing, positive episode. So you are not alone. I'm with you and I hope you feel connected when you're listening to this episode, but I'm sending all the positive loves and vibes to you always. Thank you again for tuning in. And until we meet again next time, bye.